Happy Thursday, everyone. It's Crafts with Katie time. So time to get your craft supplies out and craft along with me here at the Tulsa Zoo. I'll just wait a couple minutes for people to join us and get in, and we'll get started on our craft for the week. So this week at Zoo School is all about reptiles, and we're having a really good time this week learning about reptiles because they're actually one of my favorite groups of animals. So I really like reptiles, really enjoy them, and so today's craft is really fun craft. So what we're making today, thank you all for joining me with Crafts with Katie here at the Tulsa Zoo. What we're making today is a gliding Draco lizard craft. So this is the example of my craft here, and it's got this like straw on the back that you can shoot it. I'm not going to do it because it will go somewhere and then I won't be able to show it to you again. So, but you blow it and it can glide. Now these Draco lizards, if you're not familiar with them, they're known as Draco flying lizards. Now they don't actually fly, but they can glide, kind of like a sugar glider or a flying squirrel. Those animals don't actually fly, but they do glide from tree to tree. Now these guys are pretty unassuming looking if you see them. You won't see them around here. They actually live in Southeast Asia. But there's about 40 different species of these Draco lizards, and they kind of look pretty unassuming. They're just small little, they top out at about 8 inches long. Small lizards, speckled, blend in with the tree really well. However, when they want to go to another tree, they spread out their wings, which aren't actually wings. They're just modified ribs that are really stretchy, and they can stretch them out. They put them out, and then they can glide from tree to tree. And like I said, there's about 40 different species, so they all look a little bit different. So this one had a bit more red wings, and this one had more yellow. This is the one I modeled my craft after. And this one's really cool. This one's like greenish. So really cool lizards. And you can kind of see the size of the lizard in the hands of this picture. They are quite small lizards. So my lizard, quite giant compared to what you would find in the wild. But let's go ahead and get started. So what you need first is to grab the directions. If you want to follow along with those directions, they are available on our website, Gliding Draco Lizard, tulsazoo.org/kids, and you can find these directions there and print them out for you, or you can just follow along on the computer, or you could follow along on the video that I'm making, right? Okay, so we need to gather our supplies, and what we need for our supplies is construction paper. We also need some sort of straw to propel our craft, and I found these really cool. I've used these for the last couple weeks. Straw crafts, weird, but they're paper giraffe straws, which is weird. And then we need coffee filter. Okay. We need a pipe cleaner. Okay. And remember, if you don't have some of these, there's always great substitutions that you can use for these types of items. So if you don't have a pipe cleaner is not necessary. You could just cut legs out of paper because those will be our legs, but you'll see where they come in later. You need white copy paper. We need glue. White glue works best because it's going to dry clear. We need a little bit of water. There's water in here. We need a bowl. Ta-da! Okay, paintbrush. Some clear tape, like cellophane tape. And we need a little bit of cellophane. Put that down on my surface already. And we need crayons or markers. Got some markers right here. Okay, and scissors. Sorry, scissors too. Okay, so that is all of our supplies. Now our first step is to put down some cellophane on, or plastic wrap, down on our work surface. We're gonna start with those wings, and we definitely need to cover our surface before we start that. Now when I was gathering my supplies, I happened to come across this press and seal, and happy accident. Love happy accidents, right? The press and seal actually has a bit of a texture to it, and when I was done with my wings and I peeled off my wings from the cellophane, it had a bit of a pattern that looked like scales. So happy accident. If you don't have press and seal, regular cellophane will work, but really cool texture that my wings got from the cellophane. Look just like reptile scales. So what we want to do first is make our mixture. So we're going to take our bowl. We're going to add a bit of glue to our bowl. We don't need a ton, but you can add a bit of glue. Put that over there. And then we're going to add a bit of water just to thin it out a bit. Now we don't want it too thin, but we just want it a little bit thin. Okay, I'm going to mix that together with your paintbrush. Get that all mixed in. And I'm going to set that aside for just a second while we do our next step. And you're going to take one of your coffee filters. You're going to flatten it out and then fold it in half to make a half moon shape. These are going to be our wings, remember? So, just like so. Okay? And then you're going to lay that down on your cellophane. Okay? Or your plastic wrap. We go back to our glue liquid that we've mixed up. And what you want to do is just completely soak your wings with this mixture. So just go over that completely, let that soak in to your coffee filter. Completely drench it. If you need to flip it over to get the back side, if it's not soaking through, you can do that. But this is good a lot of times when you're painting and stuff, your art teacher or whoever's instructing you to do a painting, they're always like, use a little bit of it. No, don't use a little bit. Use a lot. We want a lot. We want these wings to be really stiff, and that's what's going to help your lizard glide. So I'm going to flip it over really quick, like so I can get more on that back side. Okay. Now, this is probably the hardest part of the craft, is you have to wait for this to dry. I know, patience, right? That's the hardest part of the craft, is waiting for the wings to dry. Now this could take several hours. So if you do this in the morning and then come back to it later in the afternoon to construct your craft, a little tip, you might want to do several at one time. You know, fill your piece of cellophane with different wings. So then if maybe you make a mistake, or maybe you decide you want to make a second one, that's already ready by the time, so you don't have to let it dry. So I'm going to take this off my surface here and move it over so we can go on to our next step. Okay? So, ta-da! Movie magic. Several hours later, we have our, oh my God, we have our dried wings. Check that out. So again, I did this on the press and seal cellophane plastic wrap, and it has this really interesting reptilian texture to it, which I really like. So what you're gonna do after you have your wings completely dry, you're gonna take your markers and you're gonna color your wings exactly how you want them. For this one, I kind of colored them like this. Kind of matches this guy right here, right? And I think for this one, I'm gonna color them to be more like this guy. So more like orangey wings. I'm gonna grab my orange marker. Ooh, this is really orange. I don't know if you can see that. That is an orange marker right there. Wasn't expecting that. So if you want to make yours more realistic, like I'm making mine, go ahead. If you want to make yours a fantasy flying dragon, go right ahead. If you want to make yours more like a fairy tale dragon, go ahead. Do what you want. It's your craft, right? You can make it however you want. So you're going to quickly, I'm going to quickly, you guys can take as much time as you want to color your wings. This is really orange. I'm really pleased with this color. I didn't expect how well this would work. And I really like using the coffee filter, and I really like how the glue dries on the coffee filter. It kind of gives a translucence to the wings, which is exactly how it kind of looks in the picture. And I really like that you can kind of see through them, because that is thin skin on the lizard's body where the ribs are to make those wings. And I think it just comes out really nicely with the glue and how it dries. Okay, so now that we have our wings colored, we're going to go on to our body. So we're gonna set this aside for right now. If you want, you can color both sides. I kind of like the fact that one side is really bright and one side is a little less bright because it's the back side. Remember, it's translucent so you can see through it. I kind of like that, but if you want to color both sides, go for it. So now we're going to make our body. So we'll need a piece of construction paper. And just like always, I am just going to wing it. I don't like to draw my shape on there first. A lot of people do. So if you prefer to draw your shape of your lizard on your paper before you cut it out, go for it. I like to just go for, I just like to start cutting, but we're going for this kind of shape. We want a long tail, a body, and then a head up here, okay? And if you don't like it, you could always try again. So long tail, body, neck, head flap, little nose snouty thing, going back the other way, go to the neck, round out that body, and then go for that tail. All right, what do we got? What does it look like? I don't know, let's see. All right, great, I'm pleased with that. I'm just gonna round out the head a little more until I like it. There we go, I love that. Okay, so this is my body. Okay, so you're gonna set your body down, get your wings back out, and then you're gonna take that pipe cleaner, okay? Your pipe cleaner, remember you don't have to use this if you don't have a pipe cleaner. You can use construction paper, but these are gonna become the legs. And what I'm gonna do with our pipe cleaner, we're going to fold it in half and then cut it. If you are having problems cutting the pipe cleaner, sometimes it can get a little tricky, especially if you're using kid scissors. You might want a little help from a parent or a guardian to help you clip that. But just need one little cut, and you've got 2 pieces of pipe cleaner, but they're gonna make 4 legs. So we're gonna kind of fold this in half to kind of make a V. We're gonna do the same with this one, kind of make a V. And then this flat end of our wings, that's the front of our lizard. And the round part is the back of our lizard. So we're going to take our legs and take a little bit of tape. And we're gonna tape on our legs to the front of the lizard. Tape that down. And then we are going to do the same on the back side. So we're going to tape that on the back side there. Now I prefer to use tape for the pipe cleaner. Pipe cleaner, you can use the white glue. There's not a problem with that. You just do have to wait quite a long time for it to dry when you have the pipe cleaner and the white glue. Hot glue is also another option. You can glue them on with hot glue, but tape works for me. Tape's really easy, and then it's on there, right? Okay, so we have this. Looks kind of funny right now. All right, you're gonna take your body, and I'm just gonna use some of that glue mixture that I had earlier that I mixed together. So if you have done this hours before, you can just use your bottle of glue. But you put a little bit of glue down the center. Now I used washable markers, which is really funny because now it's the washable marker smearing a little bit. So I put glue down there. You're just gonna pop on the body on top of those legs, and you can adjust those legs however you want them to look when you have the body on top, like so. Okay, we're almost there. It already looks like the lizard. So the lizard part is pretty much done, right? And now we have to make the more mechanical part for it to fly. Okay, so I'm gonna set this guy aside for right now. And this is a bit of a tricky part. You might need a little help for this, but you're gonna take your straw and you're gonna take your white piece of paper and you're gonna start on a corner, doesn't matter what corner, but you're gonna start on a corner of the paper. And you're just going to roll the straw up in the paper. You're going to just keep on going with that. till it's all the way rolled up. And then you'll take a piece of tape, but you want to, before you tape it, to stay closed, you want to just let it go just a little bit so that straw starts to come out. Okay? You want it a little bit bigger than the straw. You don't want the straw to get stuck inside your tube. Okay? So then once you have a good size, you just tape it down so it doesn't unravel. If you want, you can put tape down more of the side. Okay? And then I'm going to cut off an end. Doesn't matter which end. And then what you want to do is crush the end or fold the end of the tube. Now you're doing this so you can prevent air from going out of it. Okay, so you want a good seal. So I'm just going to fold it over just like this. And then I'm going to tape it up. So no air. And this is what's going to help propel your lizard and help him fly. Okay. Make sure that's all taped up. See? And now we have a closed end. So if I were to blow into this, the air would get trapped inside, right? Cause pressure in there. So we're going to take back out our lizard. On the back side now, we are going to take our tube and we're going to tape our tube to the back side of the lizard. Okay. And if it sticks over, that's okay. If you want to trim it down so it doesn't go over the tail, that's fine too, however you want. But you're going to tape it down to the back side of your lizard. Again, if you want to use hot glue, go for it. If you want to use white glue, go for it. It just will take a little bit of drying time. So I'm using tape. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to trim mine a little bit so it's not as long. There. And then we're almost done. We have one last step. Okay, and that's to draw a face. And I'm going to use my Sharpie marker for that. I'm just going to draw some eyes, little eyebrows, give them a little expression. Oh no, I'm going to fly! Ah! Cool. Here we go. He's done. Okay? Yeah. All right. So now, what you do to use him, you take your straw, and you're going to stick it in that tube, and just like you're at a restaurant, and you're shooting your straw wrapper across at your brother or sister, which you shouldn't do, right? That's bad manners. I don't ever do that, ever. You're going to blow into the straw, and your lizard is going to glide. Woo! All right, you can't see where he went, but he went all the way over there. So, yeah, well, thank you for making your Draco lizard with us. Please, if you make these Draco lizards, they're really cool animals. I do want to see them in the comments. I take a look at them, and it makes me really happy to see that you guys are making these crafts with me every week. And we'll see you next week. Tomorrow is Meet a Friend Friday, so make sure you tune in live at 10 with Kaylin, and she'll be presenting one of our ambassador animals that you'll get to meet. All right, see you next time. Bye.